There's no doubt Lionel is the best dude in Elden Ring. He's dummy thick, supports spicy workers, and he's got a cool hat. It's literally the hat trick. But how's his build? Seems like it might be kinda all over the place. That is, if you care about using the spell, and I don't. So this should go pretty well. Big old armor, big old weapon. I'm anticipating a big Lion W, and not a Lionel. To watch these runs live, follow us on Twitch. We're playing Elden Ring all the time. Join the Patreon to support the channel. It's the best place to do it. Check out Tulok Time to watch me play a bunch of different games. Check out Tulok the Barbarian for D&D 5e homebrew, and Tulok the Cardbrarian for some Magic the Gathering content. Now, let's get started with a heavy thrust. We're starting off as a warrior, a rare pick for us, but it's got all the decks we need for our Great Epee. Today's foray against the Grafted Scion goes poorly. Yeah, not my finest hour. Doesn't matter though, we're not hurting for XP. This is a straightforward, solid build. As soon as we get a horse, we can boogie on down to the southern tip of Limgrave for a weapon with a pretty obvious joke. The Great Epee. I'm not doing it. Confession time, gamers. I hate the Epee thing. You're an adult. You're tired. Why are we doing baby talk now? I thought Bernie sold the repeating thrust to Ash of War, but I was wrong. It's the Knight's Cavalry. No upgrades, doesn't matter. No armor, who gives a shit? I was born for this fight.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, sadly, we do have to go do chores right away. It's nobody's favorite. At least not solo. Y'all know what I love about 90s sitcoms and wish I had in real life? Errand buddies. Well, I'm gonna go to the laundromat. Huh, well, I come with. What? Don't any of these people have jobs? All of my friends have jobs. If we want to hang out, it's scheduled and we try to do something fun. But I want someone to just go run errands with me. That'd be great. At least it gives me some time to spit a few facts. Okay, Bloodborne 2. I got some unhinged ideas. Instead of going totally open world, you maybe make the world a little bit bigger. But what's the method of transportation? Are we adding a horse to Bloodborne? I guess you could fit a horse in a carriage, like a horse and buggy. That's certainly a thing that would exist in the Bloodborne universe. Here's what I want. Bicycles. It fits with the time period, and it fits with the theme of boy being a woman, huh? Because if you look at when bicycles were introduced and popularized with women, there is body horror style propaganda saying that women's bodies will evolve differently to accommodate the bicycle. That's why I'm saying we add in bicycles to Bloodborne. Bloodborne. Bicycles. You know what else I want to see in Bloodborne? You know what else I want to see? You know what else I want to see? This is going to sound crazy. Everybody says, oh, we got to go underwater. We got to do an ocean for Bloodborne 2. No, because you know what was happening? You know what was happening at the same era as Bloodborne? Rootin', tootin', shootin'. Cowboy, baby. I want Cowboy Bloodborne. You're in the desert and eldritch horror appears. You know why? Because I haven't seen a rootin', tootin' cowboy action with eldritch horror. I haven't seen it. I want to see it. I'd like to see it. The Wild, Wild West. Eldritch trains. Yes. Oh my God, a fucking train level where you gotta go from the front to the back of a train. I'd let that game run a train on me. That's how into it I would be. Plus the use of guns as a parrying tool, don't you want to do a fucking shootout? Don't you want to do a... Come on. Look at that. It's the Raya Lucaria Crystal Tunnel, an area this weapon does not excel in. Piercing damage is cool against dragons, it's not great against rocks. That expression, trying to draw blood from a stone, yeah, it means it's pointless. So it's pretty poorly tuned. And we end up dying to the Crystallion. No! Did we lose to the Crystallion? Because we're naked? Oh, that's embarrassing. That's a big fat L for our boy Lionel. And then another minor gets us to really should just always go get Vigor first. I thought we could skip it to save time, but remember, a stitch in time saves 9. Also, hitting crystals consistently makes them die. Doesn't matter what you're using. Now we can level up the weapon a little bit and get closer to a truly great Epee. I know so many of you are expert French speakers who are going to correct me on the pronunciation. I'm going to pronounce it differently every single time. If you comment, oh, this is how you pronounce it, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Video's out. Video's posted. We're not using this sword again. It's done. You don't have to, I don't need your help. Since Lionel's armor is in the royal capital, we're going to grab the blue dancer charm from the High Road Cave. That means stabbing the ankles of the guardian golem. It's just like the Tower Knight from Demon's Holes. We made a Demon's Holes video per everyone's request, and I'm sure you all watched it and enjoyed it. Making non-Elden Ring videos is viable, and we'll continue to do it until the end of the series. 3 more to go. It's not a huge commitment. For now, imagine thrusting into Fort Height. Then we'll hit up the Dragon Barrow, and hey, we've got both pieces of the Dectus medallions so fast. Then I grab the spiked cestus and pound off on the dragon's toes. I just want the vigor. That's all we need. Altus has our next upgrade material sealed away in this cave with a name that escapes me. Closed tunnel? Something like that. The boss here is an Onyx Lord, pretty easy with a big weapon that poise breaks, except, oh wait, this one doesn't. Heavy thrusting swords. Let's talk about them. They're slightly faster than curved greatswords and greatswords, with a wee penalty to their damage and a wee penalty to their stance pressure. Greatsword light attack stance pressure is 10. Heavy thrusting sword is 6. It's a 40% drop off. Stance and poise are different things, but they go hand in hand, like getting to third base with Thing from the Addams Family. Is that 40% penalty worth 10% more speed and also less damage? I would say. Remains to be seen. Stick around to find out. But we need to get some things up here first. So we'll kill the Putrid Avatar for stamina recovery. It's a good physic tier. And you know what really matters for Lionel? Endurance. Dude is rocking the second heaviest armor set in the game. We need to be down with the thickness in a way that would leave some people disturbed. Clean-rot Knights are easier when you can hit them with some poise, but our weapon is leveled up at this point, so they're kinda easy anyway. Time for revenge against the Knights Cavalry. It almost kills us because Torrent is a garbage horse. It's kinda neat that they tried to let you level up Torrent in the DLC with the revered Spirit Ashes, but dog, we need triple this thing's health. Now we should have everything we need to make this Great Epee very great. But if you want a great night's sleep why not check out today's sponsor, Helix. That's right, gamers, this video is sponsored by Helix. Helix is the most comfortable mattress I've ever owned. I've been sleeping on mine for about 6 months now, and the level of comfort is just unprecedented. I'm hitting snooze less in the morning because I'm waking up more energized and ready to go to start a fantastic day. Because your fantastic morning actually starts with a fantastic night's sleep. So what's so different about my Helix mattress than my old mattress? Well, one, your boy runs hot. I just am always a certified hot boy. I am warm constantly. I live in Minnesota, and before I would have to leave the window open in the middle of winter to get to the cool temperature I need. When I filled out my sleep quiz, I noted that I was a warm sleeper, and Helix recommended a mattress that cools. So not only is it a cool mattress, it is literally a cool mattress. Even if you don't sleep like me, Helix has the perfect mattress for you. That's what the whole point of the Helix sleep quiz is. You need a harder mattress, you can get a harder mattress. You need a softer mattress, you can get a softer mattress. I landed on the Helix Dusk because, again, I'm a hot boy and I want a cool mattress. But whatever your needs are, this quiz will help you figure it out in less than 10 minutes. Another thing I love about a Helix mattress, it's incredibly easy to set up. You just gotta unroll it from the packaging and let it inflate. It couldn't be any easier. Getting a mattress from Helix is one of the best investments you can make in yourself. Think about it. A third of your life you spend asleep. Ideally, if you're getting 8 hours, like you should be. You're getting 8 hours, right? You better be. And you'll be getting a better 8 hours of sleep if you get a Helix mattress. So scan this QR code or go to helixsleep.com/tulokmango for 20% off site-wide. Once again, that is 20% off site-wide when you go to helixsleep.com/tulokmango or just scan the QR code on screen now. I know I'm gonna sleep better knowing you're sleeping better. Now let's get back to that Elden Ring build. We bring Roger for Margit, and obviously with the plus 13 weapon, this is over before you know it. What? Wait, no, why is it taking so long? What? Roger is giving him some extra health, and we haven't invested in our damage stats, but we did this little run once upon a time where we only leveled our vigor, and that damage was off the charts. That was with the Great Stars, another great weapon. Maybe this one is just gonna need a little help. I mean, damn, we're using the Blue Dancer, and should be getting like a 15% damage boost. Is this thing just bad? More testing required. Obviously, after the Danger Path, we haven't leveled up Dex or Strength, so so it's pretty similar against Godric, a little worse even, considering he has more health. Good news, the charged R2s do a decent amount of stance pressure, so when we can't get those off, we get a nice crit. It's easy, it's free, it's Godric, you know. Godric's Great Rune will help us out quite a bit, 10 levels of extra damage for the and more health and endurance as well. Let's just go get a bunch of levels. Grail and the Putrid Avatar. What's a dragon steak without a side salad? Still a steak. It was doing more to help the salad than vice versa, but I did the order wrong. Is great against dragons. It's long, it's pronged, and down to get the piercing on. Now Putrid Avatar, it's worse there. And we've got 3 minutes to maximize our pickle. Every time it hits the Elden Stars Jr., that's a delay, but we get there. I'm kind of practiced against these dudes. Oh boy, a Weeping Peninsula field trip. Yeah, thank God I got a good night's rest on my Helix last night, or I'd pass out. Could Lionel carry a manor? Probably a good contender. He's a big boy and you need some fat to actually powerlift. Big horse girl just kind of gets poked down. No worries. What would we worry about? It's Loretta. Ronnie wants us to help her out, and Lionel is a friend to all women. We actually have to talk to Blyde here since we haven't fought Radahn yet. Oh shit, we forgot to fight Radahn. Yeah, my bad. Party time. We skip the arrow phase by just charging at him, then start poking. Hey, Lionel's here too. Isn't that neat? You know what isn't neat? No armor. Other Lionel has armor. We have nothing. That gets us killed. Yeah, we're pretty slow at getting things going here for damage, and because the armor's in the capital, we're also very squishy right now. We lose twice. Yikes. Third attempt, we can finally get in there and get a big Lion W. With Radahn dead, we can grab our Ash for the run. First, gotta check out Celavis's puppet collection, then he gives us the Nepheli potion. Oh my god. I'm so tired of doing errands. At least Demon Souls doesn't make you do errands, it just kills you with skeletons on a little walkway every 5 seconds. Yada yada yada, we get the Jarman. Why the Jarman? Well, any Tarnished can show up to be one of Fia's champs, so Jarman could be one of the NPCs, and thus Lionel is chill with Jarman. Mimic Tear gets stabbed a few times, we're moving on. Moose would be a great place to bring out the Jarman for the first time, if I remembered to get the bell. Alas, no. That means we get to spend a lot of time running around. Incel Rivermane? No way. Now, Lionel doesn't hook up with Fia. The armor set clarifies that he's like a dad to her, but a man who meets a spicy worker and says, hey, I got your back, let me know if you ever need my help, that guy fucks. We're here for the good kush to max out the Jarman. Astel is a great debut of Jarman, and also the debut of us getting grabbed and dying. Lots of early deaths in this run, but you know, the first part of the game is the hardest part. Maybe it'll turn around later.
I doubt it, but you never know.
Attempt 2, we're able to get some charged attacks off when it goes for the tail drill. After the meteor, it does the drill again, so we get the stance break again. I love doing it again. Still haven't hit up Raya Lucario, huh? Might as well. Doggy is easy. You might think the belly gets in the way, but Lionel brings the length to get there.
If you know what I'm talking about.
Okay, here's the thing. I know he can parry it, but will he? Bop, bop, bop. Yeah. Thank God we have enough damage to one-cycle Renala. At least the weapon isn't bad against a woman who doesn't move. Boggart gets a long thrusting sword of women respecting through his prawns, and we're off to Volcano Manor. The Godskin Noble is pretty good against piercing damage, and also has a heavy thrusting sword. Big boys love their heavy thrusting swords in this game, apparently. We end it in a cool way by getting them deep in the guts. Rykard, skip. Yeah, skip that. I don't think the Blue Dancer helps. 1, because the Serpent Hunter is so heavy, but 2, I think it literally just doesn't apply. Or maybe I'm wrong. I don't care enough about the fight to check. Unfortunately, now the only thing left to do is Gargoyles with a thrust weapon. The fight actually probably would go better with Rancor Call, the spell you'd use for this run, but at this point in the game, we don't have an Int Faith build and don't have the Prince of Death's staff either. Also, we'll use Fia's Mist against all of the enemies that it's useful against.
There's nothing here!
At least we have the Jarman. A second person in the fight is very helpful, even if they like throwing firebombs on the water. He doesn't have to be perfect, he just has to be. Time for the best boss, us. And our friends. Fia's champs are all NPCs, and we can poke them with better reach, except obviously the other Lionel. He's got the same amount of reach. But if we save him for last, it's no problem. We're on to the capital, which means we can use all that endurance to finally get that heavy load. Obviously, we get the Thickum set as fast as we can and slap it on. We've got enough endurance that we're not in heavy load, which, hey, technically is not accurate, but I don't really care. It's thick enough that we can hit repeating thrusts without worrying about a repeating bust. Golden Godfrey is weaker to pierce, not that you know it from this thing. We just started investing in damage, but apparently this one's very stat hungry for DPS. Morgoth takes a little longer as well, but I kind of like it. This is a cool fight. I like seeing more of it. No stance break through the entire run, which is kind of wild. We don't really ever never stop hitting him. For Demlands, decriminalizing spicy work is a pretty clear logical path if you take a second to pitch it. Trafficking is made easier when spicy workers are scared that reporting their abuser will get them arrested or deported, and trafficking is bad. Full legalization and regulation would be the safest and best option, but I know getting the Democratic Party to tiptoe to the left is a Herculean effort, so let's just start with decriminalization, please. Like, pitch some good things. That could be helpful. Mountaintops of the Giants means weapon upgrades. We're up to plus 18 now, that should help. Almost every weapon I've used has maintained a level of quality so long as the upgrades were there. This one doesn't so much. Fire Giant is a lot of poking. Who could have guessed that? But the extra speed does not transfer to big DPS, even on a boss that's slow enough to let you get an extra hit off. It's still just slower. Speed would be ideal if we wanted to build a status effect, but Lionel doesn't, so I'm gonna try not to. That'll be a mercy rule later if we need it to, I don't know, beat Radahn or something. Slapping bleed on that thing and just making things bleed. For the Godskin duo, we just keep up our standard poking. It's long enough to hit the boy as he rolls out. I like that about it. Its reach is solid. We're not whiffing unless we go for jumping attacks, which for some reason we have to point into the ground. Hate the jump attack on these things. That's the max out sword thanks to the duo, and right in time for Malekith. This fight is bad. It's really not fun. I'm used to breaking him down really fast, but when we don't, we just get lit up by that holy damage in phase 2. Also, I don't really know what's happening. It seems like the armor isn't even all that hot. I think it's because we stopped at 40 vigor instead of going to 60, but we're kind of suffering. We're taking a lot of hits here. Gideon is a chump. When the weapon is long enough, we can literally just walk forward and hit him no problem. Even this has enough poise damage to interrupt Gideon. Godfrey is worse. First death is greed, but notice how I said first death. Yeah, I am not all that used to having a weapon at this speed that doesn't break the enemy down quickly. It literally feels like they took a hammer to this thing's knees because it could sing a little better than the other kids. Singing doesn't help you perform in violence. Radahn is a nightmare if you don't finish him off quickly. So many of his later stage moves just kind of pummel you with delayed AoEs. We make it to the Elden Beast though and enjoy a nice long trip through Poketown. Running on a horse, poking, running more, poking. The longer it takes, the less fun it is. I really think this weapon might be worse than mid. I think it might be bad. Two Spinal Tap needle drops? Damn. Wonder if we can get them to go to 11. We head down through the Stormvale secret tunnel for rank call, then get in a little fight with an ulcerated tree spirit. It's a very fast fight. I mean, this is Stormvale. We just beat Elden Beast. Kind of funny how we ended up on this path. It's the Fia storyline if you don't just, skip the entire storyline by going directly to the Mountaintops of the Giants. Whoops. There's a big snake eater ladder. What a thrill. With darkness and silence through the night. What a thrill. Oh, whoa, that's convenient. I was just fucking joking so I could do Snake Eater. Wait, no, this is exactly where I need to go. I am still in a dream. Snake Eater. Those were the whet blade that'll let us go quality. Yeah, we're gonna put 120 points into damage to try and make this weapon good.
Man, I feel like
Spell Enjoyer. Plassy's weak to Pierce, but are you sure? Less than 600 damage per hit, and we have invested in damage stats now. Things just pretty bad. Thankfully, the armor is solid, so we get through the fight without another L. Niall is no match for my Jar Buddy, and neither are his goons. Honestly, I think a big chunk of this build success is Jarman putting status effects on in the background. He's relentless, this guy. Let's try getting some combos going. By fighting the Putrid Avatar in the Consecrated Snowfield, we get the combo physic tier. That should be good with Repeating Thrust. And Repeating Thrust, great against NPCs, like the Penguin Noble. The only downside is, now I'm investing in it. So we gotta do the whole Millie quest. Beat up O'Neill, totally different guy than Niall. Talk to Gowry, talk to Millie, go to the shack to talk to Millie. Head up to Altus, fight Eleonora, I guess. Repeating Thrust makes it fast. Then get Millie's arm, bring it back to her, fight the Godskin Apostle, and kill Millie. Whole thing only takes 20 minutes. Other bonus, the Millie prosthesis gives us 5 dexterity to help with the high stat requirements of the build. All that effort is carried into Mogwin. Let's see if it helps with Moog. And hey, we have the Moog tier as well, so let's hit some thrusts repeatedly. It works fantastic. He doesn't get to finish counting. Whole lot of running, just 10 full minutes of jumping on roofs and hallinging my tree. We're at Loretta. Whoops, left the Moog tier on. It's fine. We just gotta be careful not to get greedy. There are a few close calls here. It's not my finest work. I wanted a fast Malenia because I was trying to wrap up the stream and I didn't get one. Yeah, first attempt, that's my bad. I don't swap the Moog tier out again. I'm forgetful, okay? It's part of the reason I don't go for the Moog tier is honestly honestly, I just never remember to switch it back out. But this thing just doesn't do anything to her. It hardly tickles her, and it would be better if it tickled her hardly. You know? Jarman's doing his best. Constant frostbite, fire bombs, but we don't interrupt her with any of these attacks, so she doesn't get poised like she would with a greatsword, curved greatsword, halberd. Hell, I think spears do it. They really just punished the heavy thrusting swords so hard, and for what? The extra speed is irrelevant on bosses after Fire Giant. They're too fast. You don't get an extra attack off, you just get a little more time to roll. Or in my case, you get more time to get greedy trying to hit another time. You get punished for it. So we have to come back for another stream. Noticing this time she actually does the parry dodge thing on our R1s too, but doesn't take the poise breaks, so she actually just repositions herself sometimes without taking any damage. It's rough stuff. And in phase 2, she'll just fly a lot. She flies now. It's ducky dances, clone tornadoes, and dive bombs every which way. Hell, this weapon whiffs her pretty regularly. There's no arc or swing. It thrusts forward, so we can't catch her when she goes off to the side. It's only 4 attempts total. They were very long attempts, and they didn't feel good, just like it might not feel good to explore a game's themes if your politics aren't based in empathy. It's time for the media literacy check. That's the only French song I know. It's a good one, though. Hey, have you ever noticed how many French things surround Fia? Except, Fia. Fia is an Irish name, but all of her champs, French. Lionel, Roger, a majority of the online players pulled for the other champs. They're from the French servers. That's 100% true, no baloney. Check out the back of Lionel's armor. The cape is 3 thrusting swords, touching tips gingerly. That's a 3 Musketeers reference. It's all very, very French. Although, I don't know who the third sword is. I guess for the second sword is Roger, but even that's just a guess. Maybe the third sword was us. Or maybe we're the D'Artagnan in this situation. Doesn't really matter. It's just clearly a reference to Dumas. It's not elaborated on in any of the item descriptions. It only says that Lionel met Fia after she was kicked out of her home and he decided he would be her father. So all this Fia simp nonsense needs to stop. I mean, the other 3 are probably patrons, but Roger is cool too. He's not a simp. He's got a cool outfit. He's got cool hobbies. He helps you against the first wall of the game, Margit. Not a simp, just a busy guy who could use a little companionship. Which leads us to the elephant in the room. The spicy elephant in the room. Is a deathbed companion a spicy worker? I would say yes, even if not literally, it's implied to be thematically. The choice of companion in the naming convention is pretty identifying, but even more identifying is all the French and all the death. Le petit mort is a French expression for an orgasm. It translates to the little death. If we extend that metaphor out, those who live in death would symbolically be those who participate in spicy work or patronize spicy workers. How does the metaphor shake out with the rest of the game, though? Well, we know D is a member of the Golden Order, a fundamentalist religious order. D does not much care for Fia. In fact, he calls her a whore, a derogatory term for a spicy worker. Now, I know apparently some of you don't think that things characters say necessarily mean things about their character. Boggart can't be sexist because I use the shrimp to make Malenia easier. But I'd like to posit something. What if the writers of the game chose the words the characters said intentionally? Perish the thought. Pun not intended, but also not avoided. Okay, also Fia kills D, but that's pretty clearly self-defense. Whenever you talk to D, he's yammering on about killing those who live in death and trying to recruit you to hunt those who live in death. And Fia's got like a spell that's terrible, no armor, no other weapon to speak of. The Eclipse Hotel is all the way up in the mountaintops of the Giants. He really should have just minded his own business. Spicy work is a dangerous gig. We talked about it a bit in the Fort Demland section, but the illegality of it throughout history has caused a lot of problems. Not to mention the arrest isn't even the thing workers are most concerned about when reporting it to the police. 16% of spicy workers reported violence from police officers in a 2005 study, and damn, that was 20 years ago. We don't have any more recent data? Well, no. Turns out we don't do a lot of studies on illegal activities, and it's weirdly hard to get participants in those studies. Hey, are you doing something the government considers criminal? Can we talk to you about it? Promise we're not cops. And even if we were, there's only about a 16% chance you'd be a victim of violence. Not a great pitch. There is an impulse to victim blame amongst some of our less empathic viewers. Hey, don't live in death, and we won't have to purge you with our holy blade. But here's the thing. It's called the world's oldest profession for a reason. A different 2005 study, damn, they were really doing studies that year, on capuchin monkeys, introduced them to currency. They could trade the coins for grapes. It was mostly to see how they reacted to risk or volatile grape markets. The monkeys created spicy work pretty fast. Obviously, that wasn't the goal of the study, but when you do science, you gotta put that down. That's so funny to me. Obviously, we don't have any historical records from prehistoric times that's kind of definitionally impossible, but my bet would be we figured out spicy work before writing. Hell, if monkeys did it, we probably figured it out before language, evolutionarily speaking. It's a fact of life, it's going to happen. Making it illegal by clutching your pearls just endangers those who participate. Fia got thrown out of her house, and spoilers, story ends with her getting murdered. Big bummer for one of the nicest characters in the game. The Duskborn ending is one of the nicest ones. We have a major problem in the world, we actually get to do something to fix it. I'd argue it's better than the Ronnie ending, which is just, I don't know, what if you went to space with your girlfriend, and then weird shit happened? We don't really know. Maybe that's what Night Rain is, but like, I don't know. You know what else the French love to do? Revolutions, rioting, overthrowing the government. Sometimes they do it a little too much and they just keep going. But you know who else is great at revolutionist acts? Spicy workers. Sex is a means of expression and an inspiration for art, which is a pretty important tool to revolution. They're historically oppressed workers, and yes, they are workers. They're part of your labor movement, and if they're not, you're not doing your labor movement right. The start of so many revolutionist moments throughout history come with spicy workers at the forefront, and then once the power is achieved, they usually get abandoned. That really sucks, so the next time society does a big revolution, let's not forget the spicy workers who helped us get there. Spicy workers need help. Lionel is there to help Fia after she is made homeless. That is a huge problem in that community because it's done in the fringes. You can't give your landlord proof of income by just having the income. It makes workers live in hotels, which is way more expensive than paying rent, or even worse, live with their abusers. It's not always a tragic situation. Some workers really love what they do, and hey, good for them. But keeping it on the fringes puts them in danger. So let's get it up out of the shadows, decriminalize it, and help some of those people out. I mean, honestly, it's probably only illegal because it would mess with the patriarchy. Men love dominating industries, but would be less represented in spicy work. There are definitely male spicy workers, but a vast majority are women and queer people. Can you imagine if suddenly there was a new industry that women and queer people were at the forefront of? That would be so scary! Taking it back to Elden Ring, we see the same power structure oppressing the already oppressed. The Golden Order is doing fine. Are the few Tibia Mariners really gonna fuck up the whole system they've created? Absolutely not. But if they have a system they can live in without the Golden Order, then the Golden Order has less power. So let's make every one of our followers hate them. It's wild that the dominant religion in America is so against sex work when, like, Jesus was friends with sex workers. He literally stopped them from being publicly stoned with rocks. I don't know if he cared when they smoked weed in public, but that happened multiple times or the same time, and just two of the Gospels wrote it down a little differently. It's a little unclear on the specifics, but that's what happens when holy text is filtered through the author, filtered through translation, and then filtered through curation, all by imperfect men. Point is, through all those levels of filtration, it got through. Jesus is pro removing the punishment for sex workers, adulterers, and like lots more, kind of just an anti-punishment guy in general. So I would argue that the oppression of spicy workers is less about adhering to the teachings of Jesus and more about pushing down on self-expression to get a more obedient flock, similar to the Golden Order in Elden Ring. In summation, be Lionel. He's cool. Don't be D. D sucks. Hey, so does gathering Shadow Tree fragments. Repeating thrust continues to be great against NPCs, like the Ancient Dragon Man. Or even the Ancienter Dragoner Man-er. Jory has friends, but so do I. My friend is just a Jarman. Those repeating thrusts can do some good damage, but Jarman isn't great at pulling enemies off. Hey, not everyone's cut out for spicy work, you know? The Golden Arches end up being Lionel's weakness. It's a shame when an area has a food desert, or even a fast food desert. Like, you don't have a Popeyes or a Shake Shack you can go to. That's so sad. That's a joke for all my loyal Midwest viewers who know the struggle of having a McDonald's and a Dairy Queen as your options. God, I'm sorry. Attempt 2, we get it together and thrust through the crowd. Stealth Forest isn't fun and looks like Streamfill forgot the big hippo. Whoops. Let's hit the remembrance bosses with a weapon that will hopefully get a little better here. Gaius up first. I would think he'd be weaker to piercing damage. That kind of scale mail tends to be for slashing in real life, but this isn't the real life. This is just fantasy. He tries to get us caught in a landslide of meteors, but there's no escape from the reality of a big crit. Open your eyes and hit the roll, Phil. Come on. Couple more jump attacks, we win. So I guess he should have looked up to the skies and see us stab him. Poor boy. Hey, look, it's a hippo. I remembered to do it after Gaius. Things are going great here. We just keep going for repeating thrusts, get a nice stance break, fuck up by drinking the wrong flask. Embarrassing, but I leave my embarrassments here for your amusements. Will Mesmer be messy? Yeah, I'm just not good with the rhythm of this fight. For whatever reason, every time I get into this arena, I roll like shit, which is weird because I know I'm pressing the button. I must just be doing it late because I don't even like start to roll before I get hit on screen. I mean, a lot of times I'm just standing still, so I don't know what's happening. I'll even like shout circle as I'm dodging through the fight just to confirm that I am pressing the button. It doesn't help. The lack of stance pressure also really doesn't help. In phase 2, he's either just constantly a moving hitbox or a bunch of moving hitboxes that also can't take damage. It takes about 10 minutes to get through, but I should have spent that 10 minutes the way the designers of the game intended, running from one boss arena to the next. Currently, the next boss fight is Romina, where we whiff a lot. She's very mobile and kind of pulls herself away while I'm trying to repeatedly thrust her. Thankfully, Majar's got this, hitting her with a bunch of damage and frostbite to make the fight go nice and smooth. Dancing Lion gets destroyed. I believe he is weak to Pierce, but mostly he's just weak. At Scadu tree level 19, we're just too big for this guy. Rilana also gets kind of washed. These are the two easiest bosses, or at least they're the ones with the least amount of health, and the easiest. Midra actually puts up a little bit of a fight. He's got a heavy thrusting sword. No, that's just a piercing greatsword.
Give me that.
Seriously, that isn't a heavy thrusting sword? I guess they added the sword lance. They couldn't have two good thrusting swords in the DLC. Time for the Avatar, the last tree bender, and hey, wouldn't you know it, we've got reach. It makes the fight very nice, very smooth. That's 4 easy bosses right back to back, so why was I saying it was so bad? Well, super important, the hat is too big for the hat hole.
Holy shit!
Then after 10 minutes of errands, Anna gets skewered and Meteor gets skewered. It takes longer to skewer Meteor, but it doesn't take that much longer. So seriously, where does it get bad? Putrescent Knight. Yeah, that's gotta be bad because after we lose, we have to drop down again. That takes forever. Pretty early phase 1 and phase 2 has all the frostbite moves. So, well, no, I guess we win. No, seriously, who makes this bad? Oh no, do I just remember this being bad because I was an unhappy person when I recorded this? That's the real unfair shake, y'all. Phil just gave this a bad review because the game is dead to him and makes him feel nothing. Or I flopped against Radahn. Yeah, we flop against Radahn, but so what? It really only struggled against Radahn and Malenia. Oh, and Mesmer, but that's kind of what every run is now. Every boss is easy except those two. Maybe a third one comes in. I could just cut out everything else and show those 2 fights. Probably shouldn't say that out loud, but hey, I strive to be honest with all of you. I can also just say that every other boss was a lot slower than I would have liked it to be this run. So even if we didn't really flop to a ton of bosses, it slowed down the run pretty considerably. So after 20 minutes of flopping, we just cheat. Respec for the bleed. I'm pretty okay putting bleed on any weapon, honestly. Like stabbing makes people bleed, slashing makes people bleed, hitting people with a hammer makes them bleed. Still takes 2 attempts. We bring Ansbach since he stacks bleed 2. Also, he's just another body. Bodies are helpful against Radahn. Now we just need to kill a dragon. Oh shit, I forgot Forsax. 2 dragons. Oh shit, I actually forgot about the Jagged Peak Drake. 3 to 4 dragons and we'll be done. They're all weak to pierce and capable of bleeding. Remember, you either die a dex build or live long enough to see yourself become an arcane build. Jagged Peak Drake is no issue. We just poke the toes till they bleed out. Bale gets poked in the tail mostly. We're doing a piss poor job of rolling today, but as long as we don't let the bleed build up go down to 0, it's fine. For the final boss, we have to give the spells a fair shake. So I grab the Prince of Death Staff, kill Garank for the Smithing Stone 10, remix all the stats for 80 faith, 80 intelligence, leaving us with not enough stats left over so that we're still in heavy load, have almost no vigor, we don't have any FP with our mind, and we don't have dex for casting speed. But at least we can say when you put 160 stats into damage, the damage is okay on a boss that is specifically weak to this spell because it can target the head. C tier feels very fair for this build. It just didn't feel very good at any point in the run, but technically didn't die all that much. It's just a stat hungry lad. If you actually want to mix Rancor Call into the build, you need to be like level 300. Fia's Mist will never do anything in the build. That stinks. I think Lionel works as an NPC because he has unlimited endurance and unlimited FP and probably perfect stats. I mean, Gideon has perfect stats. I don't know why they wouldn't give the other ones perfect stats. Heavy thrusting swords just seem kind of mid, especially since the Claymore exists and has a piercing R2 anyway. Oh, and another piercing greatsword in the DLC. So yeah, I don't know. Just not my favorite weapon type. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, subscribe for more. We're making new videos all the time. Join the Patreon to support the channel. It's the best place to do it. Check out Tulok Time to see me play other games where I have a little more fun. Tulok the Cardbarian, where I talk about Magic the Gathering stuff. Tulok the Barbarian has the D&D 5e homebrew. Go check that out if that's something you think you'd be into.